Hello, it's the Coaster Craze, and following my top 10 new for 2018 coaster list, I'll be releasing the top 10 new for 2017 one, since it's the end of the year. To clarify what can make this list, it cannot be a relocation, it has to be newly built, and it has to be a coaster that's already open, because some of these, like the awesome looking hypercoaster at Hakko Dream World in China, haven't yet opened, so I don't know if they'll be pushed back to 2018. So, let's get started. Starting out my list at number 10, I have HEIDI the Ride, the family Allenbach GCI Woody.
So at number 10, I have HEIDI the Ride. And my logic for this is that even though it's a lot smaller than all the other coasters on this list, it packs a punch. It's very similar to White Lightning, and though I did not get to ride it when I was in Florida, it looks excellent. It has tons of airtime. You just saw that double up and double down. It's got some nice turnarounds. There's a new wind coaster and looks very smooth. GCIs always go with their smoothness. And just because of the reputation of this company and like similar rides, I think that this definitely belongs on this list, though they're just bigger and better rides and longer rides farther up on this list.
At number 9, I have Star Trek Operation Enterprise. So, this one is a Mack launch coaster, and it's not nearly as good as Blue Fire because of the length, but it still has a pretty nice length. It starts with the standard, like the launch forward, launch backwards, launch forward, which, I mean, it's okay. I think it's a little bit of a gimmick. I got to experience it on Gale Force, and I don't know if it adds too much to the ride, but it's a good way to pick up speed. And then it has 3 solid inversions, and they give some really nice hang time. Like this launch, like Mac launches never seem that powerful to me, but they seem like they have a good couple of airtime like humps that have some good ejector. Like right here, this is the insane hang time. Like that looks really nice. It's pretty compact and it doesn't look super large, and it's kind of short, so that's why it's not higher up on the list. But overall, it just looks like a really fun ride and smooth and just a really nice fit for the park.
At the number 8 spot, I have Capital Bullet Train, a new Mack Rides custom launch looper that just opened up at Motion Gate Dubai. Just like Star Trek, Capital Bullet Train is another Mack Rides launch coaster that starts with that triple forward, backwards, and forward launch. But this time it launches into a loop, not a top hat. And I think that's better because this loop looks like it gives a ton of hang time when it traverses through it. And it really looks like it just keeps the speed. Like this is a much more compact and looks more intense coaster than Star Trek. And it has some turns and stuff that are like really low to the ground that remind me of I-305. Like it has this twisted airtime hill that has these awesome S turns right here, and just looks like back and forth, like the corkscrew. It has nice hang time, one less inversion, but just an intense and quick and really just fun ride. So that's why I prefer it over Star Trek.
At number 7, I have 2 Thunderbolt clones, Rollin' Thunder and Thunder Chariot. So, I actually got the chance to ride Thunderbolt, which is the original version of this clone, and that's at Luna Park in Coney Island, New York. So, these coasters I probably wouldn't put up here if I didn't ride it. But, for example, this is a testament to how good 2018 is. There's another clone of this coming to Robotland, and that was barely in the honorable mention. So, like, 2017 is a little bit a weaker year, but these are still some pretty great coasters. So this video is of Rolling Thunder at Owen, Alabama. And so these coasters, like Thunderbolt, that drop is insane. Like, so first off, vertical lifts are pretty daunting, and then that drop, I actually got a ton of just like negative G-force on it because there's no over-the-shoulder restraint, so it's excellent. The 4 inversions are very forceful and fun, have good hang time, and there's a good overbank. These airtime hills that you're seeing have an excellent ejector, surprisingly. The coaster has a little bit of a rattle, but it doesn't take too much away from the ride. So overall, this has a great variety of elements, and just really surprised me as a really underrated coaster. So that's why they're pretty high up on this list. At number 6, I have Flying Wing Coaster at Happy Valley Chongqing. So this is the only wing coaster that opened this year because there were 2 others that were going to go to China, but since they have yet to open, I'm not going to consider them 2017 coasters yet. And this one has a really solid layout, and though there's no height and speed, it has 5 inversions that look really nice, including that dive drop and a loop. It has this pretty nice airtime hill, and it really just looks like it's a really nice coaster with some good, like, it's very spread out layout, and just looks like a really fun ride. I would say it's one of the best wing coasters actually out there. So that's why it's pretty high on the list, but just the ones higher up
just have some more airtime and just overall just better types of coasters. But for a wind coaster, this is one of the best wind coasters, I think. Now at the number 5 spot, I have Jungle Dragon and Great Desert Rally, two GCI wind coasters that open up at Happy Valley Parks this year. So this POV is for the Jungle Dragon, but it's the same thing as the Great Desert Rally coaster. And so they're both GCIs, 100-foot height, so pretty sizable. And I just love the layout. I love how it starts out the ride with that weird steep twisting drop. And it also is they use this one at least uses the terrain, so it really looks like it's just maintaining its speed throughout the ride. The airtime looks super powerful. They haven't released a length for either of these coasters, but it just looks pretty long, and just a really nice mix of just tons of airtime hills and just really nice banks. This is at the same park as the Flying Wing coaster, so I mean Happy Valley Chongqing, which just opened this year, is just really starting off their park with some great coasters. And look at this, it's flying right now, and the ride's already 3/4 done. I mean, I think the old GCIs, they were nice with the banking and stuff, but this one just it maintains its speed. It has awesome airtime hills, a lot of airtime hills, and just some really nice banks, and overall just a smooth and excellent wind coaster. That's why it's so high up on this list. At the number 4 spot, I have Jungle Trailblazer, the newest Martin and Fleming's coaster to open up in China. I would like to apologize in advance for the vertical video, but this is the only POV available of Jungle Trailblazer. So anyway, the coaster starts off with this really nice steep drop. It's about the same size as the GCI wind coasters that just made the list, like Great Desert Rally, and it's got some really nice airtime and bangs to it, but it's a significantly longer, and it shows when you think it's over, there's just more airtime and a crazy ejector, nice banks, and like it's seen here, the real main factor that pushes this one above the GCIs is that it's got these overbanks. There's only 2, but they're really nice. I love how the Gravity Group or Martin and Fleming's use these overbanks in their wind coasters, because it's really smooth and nice ride, but it just gives them the edge over GCI. Starting off the top 3, I have Red Force, the massive Intamin Accelerator Giga Coaster. So Red Force is the newest Intamin Accelerator, and though they're very short rides, I've got the chance to ride King the Ka, it is just such a fun and exhilarating. Look at that launch, that's super powerful. The interesting part of this one, it has an LSM launch instead but I think this still looks really nice. And the best draw is, look at this, it has a straight drop, so you get, I feel more drop feeling, while King Ka's all twisted. So that's really nice. This looks like it could produce some airtime right there. I'm not sure if it does, but it just looks like it's a really short ride, way shorter than all the other ones on this list, but it's just such a rush that it deserves to be up here. And besides, it's a Giga Coaster, for crying out loud. That's so cool. At the number 2 spot, I have Mystic Timbers, an airtime-filled out and back GCI, which most likely is the best GCI out there. So in a wood-dominated list, Mystic Timbers is very high up. And well, frankly, I haven't heard much about some of these other wind coasters because, well, they're in China and stuff. So I'm basing this off of reviews, and starting with that twisted drop, and just looking at this, it has relentless airtime all the way through. It looks like it almost carries itself like it's a Gravity Group coaster with all these small airtime humps, and not as much just a smooth and graceful big GCI. This thing looks awesome. It has this awesome shed. Coaster Studios called it the best coaster at Kings Island. That's saying something. I mean, this park is Diamondback, for crying out loud. It has a pretty solid length, not insanely long, but as far as wind coasters go, I couldn't ask for more. When you look at this, it has great bangs and awesome airtime. And besides, it has this shed at the end, which is really cool and just an extra effect. Some people call it disappointing, but anything that's added for theming, I think is cool. I'm gonna stop the video here because no spoilers. So let's move on to our number 1. Okay, so this coaster kind of sprung up out of nowhere. First off, it has a really weird name and theme, but I kind of like it. There's this giant Joker head at the top, which you can see. That's kind of cool. But on other notes, I'm really glad they went with a custom Mac Hyper and not a Flash clone, because Flash is awesome, but this one just looks even better. It starts off with this epic twisted, super steep drop. It's got a good length, 4,500 feet of track. Look, it starts off with a great airtime hill. Back rides really look like they have good airtime, like good ejector. Non-inverting loop, that looks really interesting. I rode one and it was pretty fun. And it has just a lot of banks. It's a very different type of hypercoaster because it's like a twister with all these different weird elements and overbanks and stuff. And it looks nice. It almost looks like if I-305 was a hyper, but was made by Mack. Like, look at those low to the ground turns. That's awesome. I love I-305. So this coaster looks super epic. Definitely one of the best hypers out there. I would say top 10 hypers in the world. And this coaster, it just opened up in Australia at Dreamworld, and I think it's easily takes the crown for the best new for 2017 coaster. I mean, what a way to finish the ride. Look at these ejector airtime hills. Like, that's awesome. This coaster overall just packs a punch. Great variety of elements. Overall, superb coaster. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe for more awesome roller coaster content. Comment down below your opinions on the top 10 new for 2017 roller coasters, and suggest any future videos you want me to make. Stay tuned for more rankings and reviews coming soon. Next ranking all Busch Gardens Tampa coasters. See you guys later from the Coaster Craze. Bye.